Deputy Assistant Secretary for Iran and Iraq, Victoria Taylor, joins us now. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So there's been a lot of talk on social media with Iran watchers, with those in the diaspora, questioning why the U.S. State Department granted Javad Zarif, the former foreign minister of Iran, a visa, despite the fact that he is a sanctioned individual, sanctioned by the U.S. government in 2019. Why is that?
So the United States has an obligation as the host country for the United Nations, and we must abide by our obligation under that agreement to grant visas for the Iranian delegation.
And, Zarif hasn't attended any of Pezeshkian's meeting with world leaders. He wasn't at the Security Council meeting last night on Lebanon, the emergency meeting that was started by France. But he did make the rounds with American media. What exactly is he doing here? I mean, why is he here?
Well, I can't speak exactly to Javad Zarif's plans, but I think, overall we know that the new president has really tried to send a message of openness to diplomacy and openness to the West. And I think our message in response to that would be we're really looking for actions and not words. And it's important for us to see, if Iran truly is interested in improving its relationships with the international community and with the United States, it's going to have to take some concrete steps in order to do that. And that means more fully cooperating with the IAEA to resolve concerns over the nuclear program, halting support for proxies and armed groups like Hezbollah, the militias in Iraq, the Houthis. And that also means, I think, taking demonstrable steps to improve the human rights situation for the Iranian people.
Just a technical question here. In terms of granting the visas, if someone is a sanctioned individual, how does that work? I mean, what's the point of the sanctions then?
Listen, all I can say is that we do have an obligation under our host country agreement to host the United Nations, and we abide by those obligations.
So there's no cases where you can deny it then? I think, hasn't there been some in the past, or?
I'm not a visa expert, so really, that's what I can share with you at this point.
Of course. So some of our colleagues at Iran International spotted alleged members of the Iran influence network, the so-called Iran lobby, entering the hotel that Pezeshkian was staying at. What do you make of that?
Well, I think, very clearly the Iranian government is very focused on sending a message right now of change, of a new leaf, of a new effort at diplomacy. And again, I would just go back to saying what we're looking for right now is actions and not words. And so, if Iran has a choice, if it wants a better relationship with the international community, there's a number of steps it could take that would show us that these words are actually serious.
Are they?
I think that remains to be seen. I think we have seen some troubling steps even since the beginning of the Pezeshkian administration, including the transfer of ballistic missiles to Russia. And so these kinds of steps show a continuity in Iran's support to armed groups and their continued support to the conflict in Ukraine. And I think it shows that we need to see more action in order to see that these words are actually signaling a new change in approach.
Let's turn to the conflict in Lebanon right now. What steps is the U.S. government taking? What are the next steps, essentially, to ensure that this doesn't turn into a greater regional conflict?
Sure. Well, I think you saw the joint statement from last night and the U.S. call for a 21-day ceasefire. Our efforts are really focused in ensuring that we are pressing forward for a ceasefire and taking steps to de-escalate the tensions in the region. Iran can play a helpful role in that if it so chooses by using its influence with Hezbollah and stopping its support to Hezbollah as well.
And U.S. President Joe Biden's speech to the United Nations General Assembly, he did mention Iran. He said that we cannot see a nuclear Iran, and he also condemned Iran's use of proxies in the region. Is there anything else that you would like to add to that?
Sure. Well, I think you will see that the United States is going to continue to use all the tools at our disposal right now to hold Iran accountable for the destabilizing activities, for its interference in elections, for the steps that it's taken to plot against dissidents and former officials. And so again, I'd go back and say what we're looking for is actions and not words. When Iran takes actions that are problematic and destabilizing, the United States is going to respond.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. That's Deputy Assistant Secretary for Iraq and Iran, Victoria Taylor.